Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. And welcome to Sunday's edition of the dceu Daily. I'm really excited this morning. The weather is beautiful outside. If you're feeling charitable, please smash that subscribe button, smash the like button, and follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. But first, here's a message from Christopher Reeve.
We've had two other people on the show who've worked with Marlon Brando, and I know you worked with him for a few days. And anything interesting come of that relationship?
I must say, I don't say this to be vicious, but I don't worship at the altar of Marlon Brando because I feel that he's copped out in a certain way. He's no longer in the leadership position that he could be. He could really be inspiring a whole generation of actors and by continuing to work. But what happened is the press loved him, whether he was good, bad, or indifferent, where people thought he was this sort of institution no matter what he did. So he doesn't care anymore. And I just think it would be sad to be 53, whatever he is, and not give a damn. That's all. I just think it's too bad that the man has kind of been forced into that hostility.
But you wouldn't. Well, he's here tonight, Chris.
And listen, that's something that I would say to him as well. I don't want to be accused of talking out of school, But he could be a real leader for us.
Yeah. Was it exciting to work with him though?
Not really. No. No. I had a wonderful time, but the man didn't care. I'm sorry. He just took the $2 million and ran.
Yeah.
So I just still care. I'm a real beginner, and I just care so much that it hurts when someone's phoning it in.
Yeah.
He is a wonderful actor. He's a brilliant man, but at this moment, he just isn't motivated. That's all I mean to say.
Well, I appreciate you being here. It was
Wow. Right, I want to draw you a picture here. I've heard this interview before, and it's all very well about us talking about the Snyder Cut and different things, but sometimes we want to be a bit different, and we will be talking about the Snyder Cut today. It's a big day. It's hashtag Zack Snyder's Justice League. Be talking about that and Harry Lennix a little bit later. But first, let's unpackage that, because I've always wanted to play you guys that video. That's Christopher Reeve literally saying he has no freaking respect for Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando, the most iconic, legendary actor, the man who really brought the character of Jor-El to life. Without him, Jor-El wouldn't be as iconic as he is today. He wouldn't be in the comics. He wouldn't be as known. Jor-El is a brilliant character because of the way Marlon played him and the way Tom Mankiewicz wrote him. Beautiful. A beautiful collaboration by writer and actor, right? But he was an icon, and he cost a lot of money. And they got him purposely to bring more butts in seats. This is Marlon Brando. He gets first billing, and he's barely in 10 minutes of Superman the movie. And they cut him out of Superman 2 because they didn't want to pay him. They couldn't afford it, so they brought Susanna York in. But when you watch the Donner cut, they put the Brando scenes quite rightly in. Look, I agree with Chris, what he's saying. Do I think he should have said it if he wanted to? Look, Chris was I think Margot Kidder, who played Lois Lane with him, said it the best. Chris had this New England morality. He was very pure. And this is why he was such an effective Superman. He really believes the things he's saying. Marlon Brando was in his 50s, his early 50s. I'm 47 now. I'm not far away from that. Well, I am and I'm not. Well, let's not debate that right now, how close I am to 53. That's kind of depressing, right? But the point is, Chris was right. He didn't care. He just took the money and he ran. He wasn't inspiring people. Chris believed that playing Superman wasn't just about being the actor playing Superman. It was about inspiring people. And I know that Henry believes this as well. Not all actors who have played Superman believe that. I don't think Tom Welling does. I don't think Dean Cain does. I think Brandon Routh believes it to a point. But Chris really did believe that. So I want to draw you a picture here. Imagine, and there's an interview somewhere where Henry Cavill does an interview, literally starts talking, dissing Russell Crowe and saying, this guy just doesn't care anymore. He just took the money and he ran. Imagine that. Imagine Twitter. He'd be cancelled on Twitter, wouldn't he? Paul flipping Ezra Miller literally did a little April Fool's prank with a fan and they tried to cancel him, which was never going to happen, of course. But it just goes to show you that you didn't need social media to start a very interesting, controversial, toxic conversation. He's there to talk about Superman and his portrayal. He said that he wasted his career, he took his money and run, and then he was asked, did you enjoy working with him? He says, no, I don't know if he's joking. Then the interviewer pretends that Marlon Brando's walking in. And Chris vehemently says, I don't care. I don't want to be accused of talking out of school here. So it just goes to show you this modern era of Twitterverse and social media platforms, the arguments and controversies were still there pre-internet. And that's amazing to me. And I think that's amazing. So it's a big, big day today, a massive day. I've got another frog in my throat. It actually reminds me of John Campier. Did you see John Campier's apology vid? He promised to do a 12-hour charity kind of a videothon, right? Where basically through super chats and other elements, he was going to stay on for 12 hours doing a video, right? A live video. And people were going to keep on donating money, right? And so I watched about 5 minutes of his initial run doing this video. And then he does another video the next day apologising for only doing 7 of the 12 hours. And he's saying, I underestimated the situation. I was going to be playing my computer games. I was going to be streaming Netflix with you. I don't know how he was going to do this. I assume he was going to be watching off camera, and then people could watch whatever other film, and he'd be still talking about it though. His throat would still go. Look, it's nuts. Campier is nuts, and he's doing all this kind of, I'm so sorry I let you down. Oh my God, oh my God. No wonder Collider's gone out of business, right? Yes, big day today, because we're hashtagging later on. I want to be clear, I don't know any timings. No one's told me the timings, so I'm just going to have to be on Twitter extra just to try and work out. Obviously, it's American timing, so probably not till 6, 7 o'clock UK time, or maybe a bit earlier, maybe 4 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock Cyprus time, which is very relevant because that's where I am, so that's important to me. So that's brilliant. But Harry Lennix has been talking, and when I go and find it, after I go and find it on my Twitter, I'm going to read out to you what he had to say because it's very, very exciting. Yes, so he's been talking on a podcast with someone, and I've already forgotten his name, and I've only just said his name. That's how terrible I am, right? Anyway, Harry Lennix, that's his name. I'm a huge, huge Zack Snyder fan. I consider him a friend. I love his movies. He deserves a shot at this. I don't think the movies that we saw, the movie that we saw in Justice League was what he would have had. What he would have had. Harry Lennix said this. This is absolutely fantastic. He also said that he didn't know about the Martian Manhunter twist, but he's been reading a lot of comics recently and studying up on it. He says he doesn't know the state of the Snyder Cut conversations, if there are any, if it's going to happen. The blogger then said to him, or the guy doing the podcast said to him, would you tell us if there was? And he said, no, I couldn't. So who knows what's going on? He basically said he would be very interested in filming these sequences, the live action angles of Martian Manhunter. So he's way behind this. He's interested in this. He posts a lot, Harry, but he's never really posted about Zack Snyder or any of that. So it's really refreshing now to hear him. And I did listen to elements of this podcast. It's about 60 minutes, so it's very difficult to pause it and go, I don't know what tracks are what. Otherwise, I would have played it for you, which would have been really, really awesome. So it's really good today to have that good news, to have another actor coming out and talking about this. It's very, very important that he loves Zack Snyder. He counts him as a friend, that he didn't know about the Martian Manhunter twist, but he's studying on the character now. That's very interesting. He's also played parts in Bruce Timm's cinematic animated DC universe as well. So he's a big fan of DC and Superman and all of that. So that's great to hear as well. So thanks, Harry Lennix. Thanks for coming out. It's interesting, isn't it? Because everyone seems to feel comfortable now talking about it and throwing their hat in the ring. and being supportive towards Zack and our movement, which is wonderful, because it wasn't the case back in 2017 and 2018, but what was happening? And I think we do need to look at this. I think people like Ray Fisher and people like Jason Momoa, at conventions were taking people to a side and saying, this is off the record. And they used to talk to them. So I remember fans, DMing me and telling me this, and I'm saying, surely you're just making this up. How can I believe you? And they said, well, this is what he said. And it did sound very, very true. And I think it was true. But now everyone can come out and, in pride of their friendship to Zack and, throwing their weight behind our movement. And that's a beautiful thing. So it's brilliant for Harry Lennix to do this. But I did, while I paused this video, someone did DM me the details of today's kind of tweet along. Now, I want you to remember something. I don't know how long it's going to take for this video to upload. So it may be after the event, during the event. So it could be past tense. Anyway, I'm going to go to my inbox, right? So where are we? Here we are, right. So basically, these are the timings for the hashtag Zack Snyder's Justice League tweet along. The only thing I don't seem to know is how long this is supposed to go on for. But anyway, I would say about an hour or two, but we'll see. So PST, 7:14 a.m., EST, 10:14 a.m., UK, 3:14 p.m., CET, 4:14 p.m., India 7:44 p.m. and China 10:14 p.m. I think the 14 is because of the 2:14. I'm assuming that's when we're going. Now, it's a very important day because it's Easter. And we know originally Zack posted that frame on Vero saying he has yet to rise. Now, of course, this is a term kind of alluded to Jesus Christ. I'm not very religious at all. I don't believe in any religion. I think all Bibles are comic books, entertaining, interesting stories in them, but I'm not a follower of religion. My parents are very religious. Most people I know are very religious, but I'm not. I just want to be clear about that. But I think that my friend who's got a YouTube channel and who's got a Twitter account, go follow him. It's called Subjective Reviews. He's been saying something very, very interesting all week, and he really does believe that something could be happening on today's tweet-along, hashtag, Zack Snyder's Justice League. And he believes because of the kind of connection between the crucifixion and the rising of Jesus Christ on Easter Sunday, that something could happen today in conjunction with Superman, and this is why this is being organised today. What I'm also a bit confused about, is this an RT Snyder Cut incentive, or is this just us fans doing this? It doesn't matter to me, I'm still going to do it. So we're talking about 3:14 UK time, so that's 5:14 Cyprus time, so I shall definitely see you there. It's a very, very exciting thing. I just want to finish off about talking about the Snyder Cut and just really saying this is really so important. We are in such a terrible moment in history. This is a global thing. This is not country versus country anymore. We must all unite to find a vaccine. Now, something very interesting happened yesterday where a very kind of respected YouTuber who talks about my favourite club, Manchester United, came out talking about saying, wouldn't it be great if the UK were the ones to find a vaccine to this pandemic, sit all the haters down. Now, he basically believes that when you speak against the government and the Prime Minister, that it's wrong. That when we criticise them in the UK and in America for not acting quickly enough, for allowing people to go horse racing when it was clear there was a pandemic, we shouldn't be saying any of that. And of course, we should be calling them out because it's going to be important if we survive this, because we can't allow them to remain in power. But the whole point is, I'm talking about that because I like this person very much, by the way. I don't have anything personal against them. I just don't agree with what they're saying. And I think this is important with the Snyder Cut now because we are in one of the worst moments in human history. There's no question about that. Hundreds of people are dying in each country a day. Thousands have already died globally. So hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. I don't know. But a lot of people have tragically lost their life, and each person had personality, hopes, fears. Maybe he loved Doctor Who. Maybe he loves Superman like me. Or she, maybe she loves James Bond, or she likes going out gardening. I don't know. Men, women, or beasts, human beings are wonderful creatures. Whether you're a villain, a hero, a criminal, whoever you are, you've got thoughts and feelings. And when that dies, it all dies with you, right? So people are important. And I believe that the people in our movement are incredibly important. Very important to me anyway. We have fought for something. This is the human condition, the power of the human condition. When you love something and you respect someone like Zack so much, and when you see something so cruel happen to him in terms of losing his daughter and of how a big trillion-dollar company like Warner Brothers just said, go away, we're getting too much heat, we can't be doing this, instead of backing him. I suppose it was harder to back him. Actually, if they backed him, see, the thing is with Zack Snyder's DCEU, it was kind of baby steps. I remember this sci-fi drama called Invasion, and the sheriff guy says baby steps. I always remember that. But that's how you should have looked at the DCEU Warner Brothers. It was baby steps. Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. There was negativity with those films. The reason people were negative towards Suicide Squad is because that was the studio's fault for cutting that poor man's film and art to pieces. That wasn't even the man's fault, as the man stated as well. Wonder Woman was left alone and Patty was allowed to create her movie. That's why everybody loved it. Justice League was another, clusterfuck by the studio. Kevin Sugihara mostly. Let's blame him because it is his fault. Aquaman, James was allowed to do his film. It wasn't the vision Zack had beforehand, but it was James' vision, and people liked that film. David's vision was, embraced with Shazam, and that's why that film is a very popular family movie. When you look at a movie, and then the following movie, like Birds of Prey, I suppose, has got its lovers and it's got mostly its haters, because it's not about the DCEU, it's not about the love of DC, it's about hatred, and about hatred for men. So love will set you free and hate hurts the hater. The point is, today, at 4:15 UK time and all the other times, right, which I've already forgotten, right, let's band together as a unit. Whether you're, whether you're the part of the 40 million club, whether you're not, whether you like John Aaron Garza or you don't, I like him. I think he's a very talented, interesting guy. Whether you like the Screen Junkie or whatever his name is, right? It doesn't matter who you like. Whether you love, Chris Wong Svensson, like I do, I have a lot of respect for Chris, or whoever you like within the movement, let's all band together today and make this trend. Millions and millions and millions. And finally, force Warner Brothers to understand that Snyder's arc is beautiful. So let's do this thing. And before I go, just one more thing. People keep on talking about this 5-movie arc, and people said, well, why would you just do a 5-movie arc and then walk away? No, that's not what was going to happen. What was going to happen is Ark was going to tell this 5-arc story, then move into the next chapter and kept on going. It would have been popular. It would have been making even more money by then. Zack's movies made good money, and they would have been making more money once people understood what he was trying to do. And if only the bloggers and the pundits and the fans and the consumers just were patient and were willing to walk behind those baby steps I was talking about, we would have seen something extremely special. But guess what? Today we can fight. Every hashtag Zack Snyder's Justice League goes, maybe, to getting this vision back. So when this pandemic is hopefully over, Zack can be brought back. Warner Brothers know that his movies can make more money than this vision right now. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think Zack will come back and run the whole thing. I still think Walter Hamada's doing a great job. And I think Walter can continue to do his thing with things like Black Adam and the R-rated Joker movie and the Black Label. I don't want to see any of that die. But, we can integrate Zack's arc and future arcs with what they're doing. So I think there can be a compromise here. And, events like today are really important. So don't sit back. Stop being depressed because of the lockdown. Grab a cigarette, drink a beer or whatever you like to do for fun. Shag the missus, shag the boyfriend, whatever you like to do. And then at 4:15 UK time or whatever time it is going to be, wherever you're from, let's unite together as a global force. And let's get Zack back to reignite, to resurface on Easter Sunday the DCEU that we want and we need. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.